Hey, deep divers. Ever get the feeling like, I don't know, maybe your data is the hottest thing out there these days?
I know what you mean.
Well, today we're going to dive right into this whole world of AI and privacy,
Yeah.
trying to figure out how this tech, especially this generative AI everyone's talking about, is changing how we think about our own data. And to help us make sense of it all, we've got a real pro with us. They've been knee-deep in data ethics for longer than most people have even heard the term.
Glad to be here. It feels like things are changing so fast with AI. It's exciting and, well, a bit overwhelming all at once.
You can say that again. We see AI doing these wild things every day. I mean, ChatGPT writing poems, algorithms designing new medicines. It's mind-blowing.
Right.
But there's this, hidden cost.
Yeah.
All that AI needs tons of data to work, and that's what's really changing the privacy game. So what's actually happening behind the scenes when we talk AI and our data?
It all boils down to this. The AI revolution runs on data. And not just a little, we're talking massive amounts. The more advanced the AI gets, especially those really powerful foundation models, the more data it needs, to learn and grow.
So it's not just like us using our smartphones more or shopping online more. It's that AI itself needs this constant flow of information.
Exactly. It's baked into how it works.
Okay, I think I'm getting that. But how is this different from, let's say, social media companies that were already tracking our data? Weren't they doing the same thing?
It's the sheer volume of data AI needs, that's one thing. But also, it blurs the lines of what's truly personal data, like posting a photo online. That's a choice you make. But what about data used to train an AI to, say, just recognize faces, tell them apart? That data could come from anywhere, some of it having nothing to do with how it's being used now.
You're saying data I thought was for one purpose could be feeding this whole other AI system, and I didn't even know.
That's a big part of why people are concerned about privacy. Even if data is anonymized, AI is getting so good at spotting patterns, it might be able to reverse engineer that data and figure out who it belongs to.
Now, that is a creepy thought. So it's not just companies being careless. It's that AI itself makes it almost impossible to control how that data gets used.
Exactly. And the problem only gets tougher as AI gets more advanced. The stakes for our individual privacy just keep going up.
Okay, so we've established that AI has a huge appetite for data, and that raises some serious red flags for privacy. But what can we even do about it? What's being done? Any solutions out there?
There are, and some of them are really interesting. Some brilliant people are working on this, and one of those promising areas is something called privacy-enhancing technologies, or PTs for short.
PTs?
Yeah.
Like for my data. That sounds kind of cute for such a serious topic.
Not exactly the cuddly kind. But these technologies are all about making sure data can be used in a way that keeps privacy and confidentiality built in, from the ground up.
So instead of just trying to limit how much data is collected, which seems almost impossible these days, PETs aim to change how that data is actually used at its core.
You got it. One very promising area within PETs is federated learning. Imagine training an AI, but the data is spread across tons of devices. Your phone, mine, millions of them. And the data never actually leaves your device.
So the AI gets smarter, but my data never leaves my phone. Seems like everybody wins.
Exactly. The AI gets the benefit of a much bigger, more diverse set of data to work with, often meaning it works better. And we get peace of mind knowing our data isn't just sitting on some huge server somewhere, vulnerable to hackers.
Okay, that's one example. But what about all the data that's already out there, the stuff used to build these massive AI systems in the first place? Can you protect privacy after the data's already been used?
That's a huge focus right now, and one technique being looked at is called machine unlearning. And yes, it's basically what it sounds like, making an AI forget certain data, or at least making sure that data doesn't really affect how the AI makes decisions anymore.
So let's say I was worried about a photo of me being used to train some AI. Could I ask for that data to be unlearned?
In theory, yes. But it's super complicated, much harder than hitting delete on a file. The AI has already used that data to change how it understands things.
Like trying to erase a memory, I guess? I bet it's really hard to make that work perfectly every time.
You're right. It's a complex problem, no easy solutions. And it highlights how badly we need more research, more creative solutions.
Wow, this is really making me think, and I bet our deep divers have a ton of questions right now.
For sure, we've barely even scratched the surface of this huge and constantly evolving field.
You said it. We'll go deeper, looking at how AI affects our privacy in more detail. We'll check out some of those potential solutions being developed. Stick with us as we figure out this crazy new world together. It's funny, we keep talking about this machine unlearning thing, but could AI actually be used to make our privacy better?
Oh, absolutely. It's not all doom and gloom, AI can be this powerful tool for good when it comes to privacy, not just a threat.
Okay, I like where this is going. Give me an example. How could AI actually make my data more secure?
Well, one area where AI really shines is data security. Think about all those passwords we have to remember, the constant worry about data breaches. AI can create much smarter, more personalized security.
So instead of me trying to remember a password that's like 20 characters long with a bunch of weird symbols, AI could use my behavior, how I type, maybe even my voice, to know it's really me.
Exactly. It's about making security as unique as you are. And not just that, AI could watch for anything suspicious happening in real time way faster than the old security systems, huge for preventing identity theft, or someone messing with your bank account.
So like a superpowered bodyguard for all my data,
Yeah.
constantly on the lookout. I like it.
That's a great way to put it. It's about using AI's strengths to make everyone's digital life safer.
That's reassuring. But
Yeah.
something else that worries me is all this talk about bias in AI. Where does that fit in with privacy?
That's a critical question. See, bias can sneak into AI from the data it learns from. So if that data has the same biases we see in society about things like race or gender, the AI might unintentionally keep those biases going, and that leads to unfair results.
So even if no one's trying to make AI discriminate, it might do it accidentally if it's learning from the wrong information.
Exactly. And this is where privacy and fairness get totally tangled up. Imagine an AI deciding who gets a loan or a job, even making decisions in the justice system. If it's learned from biased data, that's a huge problem for people.
Wow. It really hits home that even something that seems neutral, like technology, can have a huge effect on people's lives, especially when it comes to something as basic as privacy.
You got it. It shows how important it is to be careful, to think about ethics, and to have strong rules in place to make sure AI is used responsibly and fairly.
So what can actually be done? How do we make sure that when people build AI, they're thinking about privacy and fairness right from the start?
This is a tough one. Requires a bunch of different approaches. First off, we need more diverse data to train AI, data that represents everyone, so it's not just learning from a small, possibly biased group.
Right, it's got to reflect how complex and different everyone's experiences and backgrounds really are.
100%. We also need more transparency in how AI systems are built. People deserve to know how their data is being used, and they should be able to question AI decisions that affect them.
It's about giving people the power to understand how this stuff works, to ask the hard questions, not just accept whatever the AI decides.
You got it. We need a healthy dose of, digital skepticism, I guess you'd call it, both from individuals and from society as a whole. And of course, hold companies responsible for building AI that's not just effective, but also ethical and respects our rights.
It sounds like walking a tightrope, encouraging innovation while protecting people's rights at the same time.
It is a balancing act, no doubt, but we have to get it right if we want AI to be truly beneficial, not something that creates new problems.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, looked at some potential solutions, but what about the bigger picture? Where's all this headed? What's the future look like?
One thing's for sure, AI isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's going to be even more woven into our everyday lives, healthcare, education, how we get around, everything.
So it's not if we use AI, but how.
You got it. And I think we're going to see a big push for stricter rules and regulations, ones that deal specifically with the challenges of AI, especially when it comes to privacy and protecting our data.
Kind of like the rules we have for other powerful technology, like, nuclear power plants or new medicine.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the catch. AI changes so fast. Regulations will have to be adaptable, flexible, able to keep up with this constant evolution.
It's a tall order. But I'm also hearing a bit of optimism from you. Do you think we can actually pull this off? Balance the power of AI with protecting our privacy?
I do. It won't be easy. It'll take governments, tech companies, researchers, and everyday people like you working together. But with collaboration, smart regulation, and never letting go of ethical development, I think we can build a future where AI benefits everyone without sacrificing our basic rights.
And that's where each of us comes in, right? The more we understand AI and what it means for our lives, the better we can stand up for ourselves, demand transparency, and help shape a future where tech serves us, not the other way around.
Absolutely. We're not just along for the ride. We have a say in how this all plays out. Your voice matters, your choices matter, and getting involved is key in navigating this whole thing.
Well said. And speaking of getting involved, we've got one final thought-provoking question for you, Deep Diver. Something to chew on as we go further down this road. But first, and we're back, Deep Divers, ready to wrap up our deep dive into AI and privacy. Phew! It's been a wild ride. Kind of makes you think, right? Exhilarating and, honestly, a little scary all at once.
Totally. We've covered so much, from how much data AI needs to, those real concerns about our privacy and those promising solutions that are starting to emerge.
Right before the break, you mentioned a final thought, something for our deep divers to really ponder. What's that last challenge you're leaving us with?
Well, we've been talking a lot about companies and governments, how they're handling AI, right?
Right.
Ethical technical stuff, the practical stuff. But what about each of us, just regular people living in this new world? As AI gets more and more integrated, we're going to be asked to trust these systems with our data, even if we don't fully get all the implications.
So it's not just about knowing the risks, it's about deciding what we're okay sharing and under what conditions.
Exactly. Picture this. A future where you could put your data in this super secure place, a digital vault, or maybe a data guardian, something like that. This intermediary would manage your data, your privacy settings, the whole 9 yards, and it would only give access to certain AI systems based on your instructions.
So instead of every single company having their own privacy policy, all that legal mumbo-jumbo no one understands, I'd have one place that controls how my data is used everywhere.
That's the gist. Puts you back in control. This intermediary could even negotiate for you, make sure you're compensated fairly if your data is used.
Now that's interesting, shifting the balance of power back to us. But the big question is trust, right? How could we ever be sure that this intermediary is secure, unbiased, really looking out for us?
$1 million question. And to be honest, there are no easy answers. It takes strong regulations, independent checks and balances, real accountability. Got to make sure these intermediaries are legit, totally transparent.
So it's not just a tech solution, it's a whole societal shift. We have to rethink how we value and protect data in this age of AI.
Couldn't agree more. And that's where you come in, Deep Diver. As AI becomes more and more a part of life, your voice matters, your decisions matter. Stay informed, ask the hard questions, and demand that these systems be designed with your privacy and your control in mind.
So, deep diver, here's your food for thought as we sign off. What would you put in that digital vault? And what would it take for you to trust it completely? Keep those digital gears turning, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.